Maybe he got a little too cozy with some of these birds.
Only explanation I have in where a Fiat Uno could keep up with a Mercedes S280, okay?
It's not that I wouldn't fight Mothman. I would beat the shit out of him.
We're seasoned.
So wait, you mean to tell me they have a festival commemorating the day a man got his shit rocked by an extraterrestrial carrot?
My neighbors across the street, they are not real.
But a pyramid is the most boring shape.
Part Sasquatch, part trickster midget.
Welcome to the Conspiracy Kitchen.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us in the Conspiracy Kitchen, where we uncover the secret ingredients behind life's daily mysteries. I'm your head chef and alien enthusiast, Joe, and I'm accompanied by Josh, the cryptid-killing sous chef himself. What's cooking, Josh?
Hey everyone, how are you?
And after last week's episode, where my blood pressure was pretty much through the roof with the aggravation, the topic was very aggravating, I figured we'd switch it up, switch from the frying pan to the slow cooker. But, of course, when I want to be able to relax, stuff happens. And it's probably the Russians. So, as soon as I start thinking about this episode, I'm finally calm after the last week's episode. My septic system has backed up. Well, it actually started with, there was a leak in my basement for the water line that goes to my bar. So I was like, yeah, whatever, I can take care of this, not that big of a deal. So I go to Home Depot, get the stuff I need, the shutoff valve that was leaking, some couplers. On my way back, my wife calls, freaking out, because kid went to the bathroom, and now the freaking septic was backing up and just outside, coming through my vent, the sewer vent into my yard. So there's that. That's what I've been fighting with for a little while. That's an ongoing process. Got septic truck coming to suck the tank out, and I'm going to go from there. But of course, want to take it easy. The Russians have other ideas. They don't like our podcast, apparently. So, I mean, I was bothered. I don't know if Josh has... Were you bothered by the Russians this week?
This week? Actually, maybe. I don't know, because I was trying to get out on time the other night, because I wanted to record. But then this tow truck shows up at closing and drops a card directly into the bay, basically saying, fuck you, you're working on this. And this woman came out, she's like, I have a flat tire. And I'm like, alright, well, I guess we're fixing that. Fucking stuck a whole nother hour.
That sucks. Do you think this is all like a Russian collusion thing, where they're just trying to... Because they do listen now. We have, like, one of the countries that have listeners is Russia. Could be some higher-ups in the Russian government that don't like the way we talk.
I like to think it's Putin himself just sitting around the laptop just listening in.
He's like, oh, Ovaltine. It's actually a good idea.
It's pretty tasty. Horrible Russian accent.
Yeah, it's all right. But yeah, the main dish I wanted to get into, because it's been fascinating me since I was a little kid, to be honest, is consciousness, and what exactly consciousness is. So this is going to be more of like, I guess, could be a philosophical episode, if you will, right? Because no one knows, right? No one knows exactly what causes us to be conscious and having this consciousness, because it doesn't seem to be in all living things either. So that's where I wanted to get at. Is it just neurons firing in your brain and we just happen to be conscious? Or is it some kind of like cosmic Wi-Fi that everyone's connected to, can tune into, but we just don't have the secret ingredients, if you will, on how to access fully what we're capable of, what our brains are capable of? Because as we know it now, right, we only use what they say 10-15% of our brain power, something like that.
Yeah, because what would you be able to do if you could do, like, because they make movies like, oh, you could access every part of your brain, and then they do like crazy superhero shit. So like, what would actually happen?
Oh, it's a great question. I have no idea. And tapping into this full consciousness thing, or into the flow of the universe, if it was one thing, I think you can kind of get what I got when I was a kid, or, well, kind of in high school. You get deja vus or like vivid visions of something about to happen that does happen. And I had one that happened to me. Now, I'm not saying I'm psychic, because to be honest, I think psychics are frauds. I'm very skeptical of psychics. Because people are like, oh, you think you're psychic. I'm not, okay? I think psychics are more psychology majors. They just look at body language, stalk your Facebook page, and then basically give you the most generic questions in the world. Like, anyone have someone in their family that has a name that starts with the letter J? And then you fill in the blanks, right? You give them the information, and then they just read off that and basically regurgitate what you're telling them, and then the people fall for it and say, oh my God, they're telling my future and all this. Those are the fraud ones. I'm talking about legit visions. And the one that stands out the most, I think I brought it up in our simulation episode, and it's actually happened to me several times. I don't know if you've had any instances like this, Josh. Maybe I'm just a clairvoyant, but I'm going to have to team up with Ed, right? Or no, I'll just go with Lorraine. I was sitting there, I was in my living room in the house I was in when I was in high school. I was watching a Yankees game, and Jeter was batting. Now, I forgot what team, I think they were playing the Tigers, and the pitcher threw the ball, I believe it was a strike. But at that instance, I had this vision in my head of the pitcher throwing the ball and hitting Jeter right on the elbow. And he just grimaced, and he turned around, and he walked down to first. And I said to my family and everything that was sitting there, I was like, he's going to get hit this next pitch. I don't know why, I just saw it. And sure as shit, we watched it in real time. Right after I said it, it was exactly what I saw in my head. I'm not lying. It's exactly what happened. Now, skeptics say it could be fucking brain misfiring. You perceived it, and your brain delayed or something, lagged. And I never understood that, because everyone else lagged at the same time. You know what I mean? Was there any instances you had of something like that, Josh?
Yes, actually. I think I also mentioned this in a past episode, but before I ever went to my stepmother's house, which is, like I've mentioned, it's in Ringwood, that area, an hour away from where I live. I had never been there before this. Like a week before we were meant to go visit for the first time, I had a dream of a big brown house with white shutters, no porch, but just the steps leading up to the front door. And I could see a big hill in the back, like behind it, and just trees everywhere. And I saw that very clearly. I could still picture it in my head now very clearly. And then a week later, we're driving to her house, and I see the house right there. And it wasn't her house, but it was like right around the corner. Her house was up on that hill, but it was right around the corner. So I guess instance of seeing the future, but completely just off by about 2 blocks.
How does that happen? You know what I mean? For these things to happen, it doesn't seem just like to try to, I guess, because scientists always want to give you a scientific explanation that can be grounded in fact that is proven at the time. But when it comes down to it, there really is no explanation for it. It's very hard to explain, especially when it happens to you. I don't care if no one else believes me, it doesn't matter. But when it happens to you and you see it, because I've always been a skeptic of that, like psychics and stuff, but when it happens to you, it kind of, you start questioning things. And the whole consciousness thing being something I've been kind of obsessed with since, I think we're in middle school. And what really got me thinking about it, besides the psychic thing, is we're sitting at lunch, and we're all sitting around this girl, Casey. She says this out loud, like, why is this the person I see out of? Why are these the eyes I see out of? Why is this body, this is like what I perceive the universe with? Or something, like, I forgot how she worded it, because it wasn't as probably as eloquent as saying perceive the universe with, because we were in middle school. But ever since then, I was like, the fuck, she's right. What the how? You know what I mean? And then it got me thinking, like, probably hundreds of billions of people have lived and died on this planet. Why is it this body at this time is the one that somehow I perceive the environment with. All those chances, right? How is this the one? And then I kind of thought maybe I've been starting to think about it more and more. Maybe consciousness itself is separate from the body. Because there's so many things that we can never explain, so many events that we can never explain that could be explained better by saying your consciousness isn't tethered to your body. It can explain paranormal, it can explain out-of-body experiences, right? Deja vus and stuff like that. And maybe that vessel, that your body's just a vessel that carries, and then once it expires, outlives its time on Earth, the consciousness then leaves that body and is tethered to another body when it's able to have consciousness. That's kind of where I started thinking about all this. So, the reason most memories, sometimes they say, oh, I remember this in a past life, whatever, but most memories probably don't transfer over to the next, is because I think the brain might be like the hard drive, quote unquote, that stores your memories. But then once the consciousness leaves, you don't have the memories anymore. That's stored on the vessel. Does that make sense, Josh? Because that's, like, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, this could be a possible explanation, and I like the way it's going.
I wrote a paper on this in high school, and
you did?
I got called an asshole, basically.
Oh.
No, because I made the point, I was like, well, what if people that have, like, schizophrenia or something like that, where they're hearing voices or seeing things that aren't there, what if, who's to say they're not seeing a different dimension or something it's real to them, but we just can't see it because we can't perceive what they perceive. And I don't know, it's all a consciousness thing. Like, what if their consciousness is based in a different plane than ours?
Yeah. And then since normal or mainstream doesn't like the way they're perceiving it or doesn't see the way they're perceiving it, they have to be labeled as mentally ill in some way, right? And then you have to medicate or lock them up for mental treatment. But yeah, maybe what happens if it is multiple personality? What happens if it's multiple consciousnesses that have enveloped into one vessel? Because when you have multiple personality disorder, from what I remember learning about it in college and Mr. Powers, I guess that doxed us a little bit, but in high school, they never remember, like, there's no cross memories. One personality doesn't remember what the other one did, right? Mm-hmm. So could it be multiple vessels that have their own, like, storage on the brain, or multiple consciousnesses that have the storage on the vessel, on the brain, like, sanctioned off, and they store their memories in a different spot?
Oh my God, I'm too sober for this conversation. I meant to go to the dispensary before this just to be, like, ready, but I didn't. Instead, I got a cup of coffee like an idiot.
I should have had a couple beverages, but I guess got a water.
We're going in dry, folks. No, I could totally understand that. And I don't know, because people will be like, well, are we real? Is any of this real or whatever? And then I think it was Descartes that famously said, I think, therefore I am. So as long as you're having thoughts, you're real. Which I don't think makes any point that I'm trying to get out. Again, I'm just sober right now. But where we have thoughts, therefore everything around us is real.
But I mean, scientists have said that not every living thing has consciousness, like bugs and them. They're not aware that they're alive. They're not aware of life cycles and stuff. But we are, for some reason. And I'm assuming maybe some higher up mammals also are conscious of their like their being, they're alive. But why is it that we are, like, this freaking consciousness that sees everything, can think about it this way, abstract, like, you know what I mean? Is it like in the ether around us that everyone comes from, or is it more of a, like we talked about before, simulation? Can we remove ourselves from the vessel for remote viewing, like they tried in the military? Several times they had different studies on that.
Oh, I can't wait to get into that. That's my favorite topic.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of, and then just think of anything that happens to us. You know what I mean? Like me getting said job that I have, like the million different things that were up to chance for me to even be able to get the job I have right now. It's like almost impossible for me to have gotten it. You know what I mean? But it goes with anything you do. So I guess if there's so many, everything you do has so many different outcomes, I guess by odds something has to happen, I guess they could say. But just like, I got the job because the guy opened up a position at the branch I'm at because the guy was caught stealing fuel. Well, what was if he never decided to do that? I would have never got the job. But then how'd they catch him? Well, the service manager I have just started like 2 months before I did, and happened to ask him for a fuel card, which pissed the guy off, which made him curious. Well, if he never got the job, that never would have happened, which never would have got him fired. But then it goes farther, you know, like they had to go out and look. So they go to different Wawas where he's filling up. Most of the managers didn't want to show him any of the cameras, but one decided to walk out of the room and say, oh yeah, just whatever, I'm going to the bathroom, which got them the evidence to see it. And putting fucking, you know, like 10 gallons of fucking 10 cans of freaking diesel in the back of his car for his boat. You know what I mean? So, and then it keeps going from that. Like, who got that? How did that manager get the job? Right? At the Wawa. To have her be there that day to allow them to see that. You know what I mean? It can go forever in that way. Is it all just chance? Or is this more of a, like the simulation side where everything's set up to be this way? This happens, and it's someone pulling the strings.
Yeah, it's all in the coding.
Is it in the coding?
Yeah.
Right? And is that what, like, deja vu, or how I saw that pitch? Was it I saw the coding before the game, but like, did I break? Was it a glitch in the Matrix? I guess you could say. Did I see it before the coding for this scene before it was supposed to be displayed before the world?
Oh, well, if it was the Matrix, deja vu is a bad thing, if you remember.
Okay. But
that means the
yeah.
agents are coming.
Yeah. Have they come yet? Maybe that's why my fucking septic backed up.
They're called the Russians.
But what about other studies that show that, like, particles act differently when they're not observed, right? Have you seen those recent studies?
No.
Oh, well, never mind.
Tell me about it. I'm curious.
So there's like these, I forgot what it's called because now I'm kind of going off track and I didn't look at this, and I just saw it today again, and I remember a meme from before where like these particles act differently when they're not observed. And the big thing is like, well, is it because, like, in a video game, you don't render areas that the player's not looking to save memory, right?
Yeah.
So, like, after doing these experiments with the slit, you have to look it up, I think it's the 3-slit experiment. How the light particles bounce through when you're looking and not looking is apparently different. You can start babbling on. I'll look it up real fast to give you the exact details, so I'm not, leaving you in the dark on this.
I love how you're like, oh, you know about this, right? But you just saw it today, like I'm an asshole.
No, I remember seeing it a while ago, and then I remembered it. I saw it today, and it just made me think of it.
I've not seen this, but it's interesting. I like learning new things. Babble, 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 babble. No, yeah, I was gonna say before, when you're like, is it all chance or is it something they say that you put things out into the universe and then it happens, or it's just the way you perceive things after thinking about it too much. But they wrote that book, The Secret, which I know I've mentioned before, I was shown this movie by my mother-in-law because she thought I was a downer. So she's like, you're putting too much negative energy into the world, and this is what you're getting back because you're willing it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've actually, I feel like I've done this too, and I go back to baseball a lot, but I like watching baseball. I'm a big baseball fan. Football's coming out, but like I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, he's gonna strike him out. Just strike him out, and he strikes him out. Like almost like you can talk it into reality. Because I've had other things just at work, just working on something, and be like, it's just gonna be this O-ring. Because I don't feel like doing it, and then it just ends up being that O-ring. Now people, oh, because it's a pattern, bullshit. I don't know. I feel like you can talk things into existence. Like just as random as it is. Like even, yeah, I'm gonna get call. How many times have you done it? Like, I don't want to get called in this week because I'm on call every weekend, but it's gonna happen, and then sure as shit, like 3 minutes later, the phone rings. You know what I mean?
That happens to me regularly, especially when I have to close. I always say out loud, like, ugh, I'm going to get fucking stuck here. There's going to be some bullshit. I'm going to get out of here like an hour or two after I'm supposed to. And then sure enough, it happens. But is it me putting that out into the universe, or is it the fact that my mechanics are in their 70s and move very slowly?
It's you putting it out into the universe and making it come true. Now, I'll just give you a quick overview. You want to know the double slit. It's called the double slit experiment. So when they take quantum mechanics, when particles, they take like electrons or photons. When they're not observed, they act like waves, showing interference patterns like ripples in water. When you observe or measure them, they act like particles picking a single path. So they're saying observation, which is kind of consciousness in itself, changes the reality for these particles. If that makes sense.
Like rendering in.
So it's almost like a video game, right? You're not observing this area. Why render it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a memory saving. And to quote Elon Musk, he even says, like, the odds are so slim that we're actually in the base reality. Like, even he doesn't think we're in base reality. We are in some kind of simulation.
That's some eerie shit for a billionaire to say.
Yeah, right? And, like, someone like him probably knows more than we do. I mean, that's just something. It's crazy as it is. And like I said before, we talked about it in our simulation episode where I thought my neighbors across the street aren't real. There may be NPCs. And it's still happening. It's the same thing. I'll come home. They'll come home at the same time. You know what I mean? I'll go get food. As I'm leaving, they leave. As I come home, they come home at the same time. I've never seen them actually bring bags in the house, though. So I don't know what they're doing. Never brought any grocery bags in the house. Never brought any food bags in the house if they're going to get food like I'm getting dinner. So, I don't know. Weird. Just some background noise, I guess. The NPCs, you know, like in GTA, just kind of wandering around but not really doing anything. So,
about your neighbors, I kind of wanted to bring this up because I didn't think of it till just now.
yes.
Across the street from my parents' house, he's lived there, this guy, as before I ever moved in. I feel like he's, I don't know, not necessarily watching us, but keeping an eye on us in some way, because every time I'm there, he walks out of his house, walks to his car, claims he's getting paperwork, and then just stands there. Now, normally, that wouldn't be weird. But this man has been unemployed for almost 30 years. What paperwork could he possibly need?
Maybe he has his own podcast.
He spends the majority of his time shirtless in the yard, which I don't know if he's just feeling himself or he's glitching a bit and then his character was not given a shirt.
Maybe. But yes, consciousness, I believe, can live outside the body. And I would hope it to be true, right? You don't want to just. I think one of the biggest things humans don't want, because we are conscious, is that you just live and die, and then that's it, And then after a while, you're fucking forgotten about. 15 generations later, no one knows really who you are anymore. You're no longer leaving an impression on the earth. If it is the way this would be, you would just start over, right? Respawn.
Yeah.
Reincarnate. There's several religions that believe in reincarnation. So, is consciousness outside the body? Can it live outside the body?
In some cases, yes.
I think it can. And then wouldn't that also kind of explain paranormal ghosts and stuff, how people can see ghosts or perceive ghosts? Could it be their consciousness not tethering to a new vessel yet, unable to or not willing to at this time? They don't have their destiny or their objectives set up by the almighty overseer if it is a simulation. So now they're just in freaking the loading screen.
Yeah, that's what they call that unfinished business.
Yeah.
New player has not been selected yet. Unfinished business.
Yeah. So, I don't know. This is just. I'm gonna go over the place. I want to try to structure this more, but the sewer, the septic thing just chapped my ass. So, exactly. I've been all over the place. I'm tired. So, I think yes. You get, there's this freaking consciousness. It gets told. You get an objective or whatever you get, and then when you enter the vessel, due to the brain being the hard drive, you might actually forget your objectives, and it's up to you to figure out what that goal is in life. Well, I have the answers before, so it's now fun. You're getting in there, and now it's up to you to find out what that goal was. So you're off. You go off, right? You start as a kid. You got to work your way up, level up, evolve, move on through life. Now you got to try to figure it out.
This is some pothead shit, and I love it. It's kind of like Velociraptor. Do you remember that meme? Where he's like, oh, if Professor X can move things with his mind, why can't he move his legs? It's that kind of high conversation that I enjoy.
Yeah. And, I mean, but maybe people who die earlier beat the game faster. And that's done with that character. And it's done with that character, and then their consciousness moves on to the next. Could be. Maybe us that live longer are just bad at the game.
There's a movie, and I'm going to... I'm babbling while I look it up. There's a movie where a guy, he's married, and he dies. And he goes to the afterlife, and he wants to get back to his wife, because he's like, oh, I left too soon. And then the guy who's like, oh, well, you got to pick a new body, and you're getting reincarnated, and he's like, no, I want to go back to my old life. And then he runs away and goes back and gets reincarnated, but they didn't erase his memories. So he's reborn. He comes back as Robert Downey Jr. And he lives a life, but he has his old memories. So he goes back, and when he's old enough, he finds his old wife, and he's like, oh, it's me. I died, and here I am. It's called Chances Are. That's what it is, Chances Are. And I'd like to say it's a good movie, but...
It's not?
He ends up, with his daughter. It's weird. I don't know.
Oh, it's kind of weird, yeah.
It's an odd movie. But yeah, he was meant to be reincarnated with new memories, and he kept his old ones. But yeah, just a fun little thing. Watch the movie and get creeped out like I did.
Maybe I won't.
Well,
But yeah, if the whole thing we have, like you were saying, if it's not can't be possible or not true at all, why did the military and the CIA start like Operation Stargate
I
and
want
spend millions of dollars trying to cause remote viewing, which had success, by the way.
it did. I've wanted to talk about this for a while. It's one of my favorite topics. It's one of the things that got me into looking into conspiracy theories because it's just such an interesting topic to me because it started during the Cold War.
Yes.
The
We
U.S.
always needed a leg up.
Yeah, always. The U.S. was getting reports that the Soviets were researching, the paranormal and psychic abilities. They're like, the fuck is that about? And they learned that they're trying to learn remote viewing, which you've heard us say that a few times now. Remote viewing is basically you leave your body, your consciousness leaves your body, and you're able to go elsewhere. You could find things thousands of miles away in your mind. And think of the possibilities if it were true, because the U.S. immediately started looking into it after that, and they're like, "Oh, we got to it's the Cold War. We got to get ahead of this." And I mean, just think of the benefit to that. Instead of spending millions of dollars training spies to, ingratiate them into other, countries and governments and spending decades learning secrets,
Yeah, and then risking them getting caught.
risking them getting caught, risking them, spilling secrets from our country. Instead of all of that, you can have one guy sitting in a room by himself, writing down things that he sees thousands of miles away, just using his mind.
Yep.
I mean, that
That
would be incredible.
tap into that like universal consciousness that I think all this comes from. The ether, really, the dark, the like that 0 point that Aston Forbes like to talk about. The everything around us, you can draw energy from it, and maybe all the consciousness comes from that, and you just draw into that yourself. You can see, like you're saying, thousands of miles away, because we had the one guy who was Ingo Swan. He was like one of the pioneers in this remote viewing in the 70s and 80s. He, start with he was with the Stargate project. He was an artist, and he says he was a psychic. I don't like to use that word, but he said he could see distant places or objects. So he apparently in 73, he accurately depicted Jupiter and its rings before Pioneer 10 got there. And once Pioneer 10 got there, the details that he drew of Jupiter were confirmed to be, and it was, pretty exact. He didn't mess anything up. How is this possible? And what would the skeptics try to say to disprove his ability to see Jupiter and its rings and give an accurate description of it before anyone else was able to even see it until Pioneer 10 got there? You know what I mean? Like, they're just going to say, oh, guess. I like how they say, oh, it's guesses. And no, he was pretty accurate. He fucking drew it.
Yeah. He spot on with all of the information, and they couldn't explain it at all. They tried to say, oh, he had access to, different means of finding information on it, and they're like, no, there's nothing that he could possibly do. But the whole thing, it's just such an interesting fucking bit of history, because it was in 72 that the U.S. started researching it at the Stanford Research Institute. And there's two guys, Russell Targ and Harold Putoff, that, were doing research. And part of it, they brought in so many people. They were grabbing people off the street that were like, oh, I have psychic abilities. They even made fun of it in Ghostbusters. I don't know if you remember the scene where Bill Murray's sitting there and he's holding up the cards, and there's a shape on him, and the girl is trying to read it with her mind to see, like, oh, it's a triangle, and he's like, wow, you got it right. And then the crazy guy looks at it, and he actually guesses it right, and he just fucks with him and shocks him anyway because he wants to get with the chick. But that's the kind of shit they were doing, and they got one guy, and Uri Geller. He was known in the UK at the time for going on TV. He was, oh, I'm a psychic. I can bend spoons with my mind. So they brought him in, and then, they were doing all their tests with him. Everything was going well. And then he was outed as a fraud by Ray Hyman, who was a professor of psychology at the University of Oregon, and he was asked to go there by Lieutenant Colonel Austin Keebler, basically to see, if this is bullshit or not, because they're pouring millions of dollars into this research. And he went and he's like, yeah, he's completely full of shit. like this whole thing is a joke. They're not getting anywhere. And that they kind of pulled funding after that, which led those two guys to go and find funding elsewhere. And then originally they were told they have to have a success rate of 65%, but they claimed to have much higher success rates than that. But, how do you prove that?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm big on this Swan guy. He's like like they said, he's a pioneer. What about the magnometer psychokinesis test they did at the Stanford research with him? They had that magnetic, or the magnetometer, buried in a vault 5 feet underground with shielding. Did you hear about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was able to focus his mind on it, and the oscillations on that magnetometer doubled for about 30 seconds. And then he stopped, and it went back to normal. The abnormality was never seen before that until he did it, or after. And then when they asked him to do it again, it did it again. And then the device returned to normal. And then they tried to write it off, like the skeptics are trying to write it off as the equipment malfunctioned. You know what I mean? But, like, what are the odds? And then he also had another experiment he did where he was supposed to get some kind of numbers on a shelf, right? They put him in a room with electrodes on his head, and then tasked him with describing objects on a shelf 2 feet above him, behind him at a site where he couldn't see it. And then he would sketch him, because he was an artist at the time too. And they were then matched to the targets by a different judge. And his accuracy, they rated the odds of his accuracy 40,000 to 1. And he claimed that he was able to see the shelf because he had an out-of-body experience. He could leave his body. The consciousness could leave his body, and he can focus on that area.
I love it so much.
And I mean, how many times do you hear about these out-of-body experiences when people are dying?
And they always describe them the same way.
They're all described the same way. And the thing is, like, they'll be talking about how they left their body or whatever. And they can even talk about someone in another room, something happening. And it's multiple. You hear about it all the freaking. Well, I can't say all the time, I guess, but whenever I hear about it, it seems like a frequent amount. It's quite frequent. It'll describe something that happened in another room, which, I mean, they're unconscious, dying on a table in a loud hospital and stuff, and they'll be like, oh, this person did this in the room next door, and then to go find out that, yeah, that person did that in the room next door. So if the person's dying, does the consciousness then, is it easier for the consciousness to detether and move freely, but then if they are resuscitated on that bed, does the consciousness have to retether to that body until the body can no longer sustain life within it or live anymore, until it's really pronounced dead? Then the consciousness can detether and never have to go back to that body.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? That it could be the way to describe all these out of bodies experiences, and how, how that works. How can they have a near death experience and leave? My grandfather had an out of body experience. That's actually how he quit smoking. He used to smoke like frickin' dude, like a carton a day. It was way before I was born. Probably before, it might even been before my father was born. But he was driving one day. He said he was crossing some bridge and he had an out-of-body experience. He saw himself from like above driving his truck. And he said he came to after that. He took the cigarette, threw it out the window, and never had an urge to smoke a cigarette again. So, like, how does that happen? You know what I mean? He told that story up until he died. It was just how he quit. He said, nope, that's it. Boom, done.
That's insane.
And he said he saw himself driving his truck. I think it was over the Verrazano Narrows Bridge in New York. And when he went back to his self, for some reason he just said, I have to quit smoking, flipped that cigarette, and he never went back.
That's crazy. I've never had anything like that. But I've heard stories like it, but I've never experienced it. I know people always say like, oh, I almost died and I was outside of my body watching myself on the operating table.
Yeah, I hear that, yeah. Is it the
Or
consciousness leaving?
could be. And then there's always a long hallway with a light at the end. What the fuck? Where did that come from?
They always talk about it. Now, the skeptics say that it's just because your brain's getting poured full of dopamine and the oxygen leaving the brain causes your optic nerves to go nuts. But I don't like it. I don't like that explanation.
It's too easy.
It's too easy. No, it's too easy, especially with everything else that goes on. Everything else.
Jesus.
But again, like, just going back to it, the whole reason I started this is like, you just actually sit down and think about it for a minute. Why is it this person you use, you see out of, you perceive the universe with, you have, use its senses? Out of everyone that was born, everyone around you, all these, the 8 billion people on the planet, and then randomly, this body, for some reason, you get to view the world from.
Yeah, I'd have pick a different body if I could.
It's not nice.
Oh. Fucking like heart problems and balding and shit. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, the game dev didn't give you the hair stat, huh?
They just hit random and there you go. I'm looking at fucking George Costanza.
No, you're better than George Costanza.
Aw. My body's kind of weird because, like, I'm strong because I've, been dealing with tires for 11 years and you got to carry heavy shit and put them away and stack them. So you get muscle doing that. But I'm also kind of fat. So I'm like fat ripped.
That's what they call it, fat ripped. Strong fat.
Yeah.
Strong fat. I saw one, for some reason I saw it. It was on X, I think. Or it might have been on Facebook too, and they had the new body types to not body shame anyone. And the morbidly obese person, they put strong fat. And I was just like, what? You're still calling him fat.
I like to tell people I'm shredded spiritually.
Your consciousness is shredded.
Yes, exactly. But my avatar is not.
It's not. Your vessel. It's not shredded anymore.
Yeah, my vessel broke down years ago. Don't get me wrong, I could still kick ass, but I look silly doing it, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you destroy those cryptids all the time.
God, I beat the shit out of them.
Oh man, where you think you're going? Like when your consciousness finally decides to leave this worn down body of yours, Where do you think you would end up?
Do I get a say in it, or
Yeah, where do you think? I'm not saying.
I don't know. Someone athletic for sure. Because I feel like if you ask this question to anybody, they're always going to say the opposite of what they are,
Yeah, probably.
unless
But I think
they're
that's why.
already fucking ripped. No one's going to be like,
Perhaps.
"Oh, I want to be a fat fuck on a couch." No one's going to say that.
But that's
me.
why I think they never reincarnated as like a bug or anything, because like they're not conscious. They're just there. They're living, but they're not conscious of their surroundings or anything. It's just they have instinct. They go by that. Just this is what they have to do. They can't sit down and, think about their future.
Yeah. My wife and I talk about this sometimes. Like, if we die, what would we want to come back as? And she always says a house cat. Always. She's like, because they have the best life ever. Look at them just laying around all day. That's great.
Yeah, but are they conscious? Like, I don't think cats. I don't think any other. Or does any other animal actually contemplate their life, their future, the past? I mean, it's hard to prove or disprove, but I don't think they do. They just live in the moment.
With chimpanzees, I know they're like, aren't we like 99.9% identical DNA-wise to a chimp?
Is it that close?
I think it's something like that. But wouldn't they have consciousness that close to us?
Do they? I don't know. I've always thought maybe it was like a human thing. But I mean, they do start to forge tools, right? They're starting to do.
They could communicate. They have their means of communication.
Well, I mean, cats do too.
Yeah, they fucking judge you. Always.
Always judging?
Yeah.
Or that's just what they look like?
No,
They're just thinking.
I feel like they're just judgmental. They're like, oh, the fat fuck's up again. What's he doing? Oh, he's getting another snack.
Oh, man. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I know. They're rude.
Yeah, no. Sorry, guys. I'm tired.
Yeah, he's been dealing with septic all week.
It's probably the gas is killing me or something. But I really wanted. I thought I was going to get more in depth on this, and I'm just like drawing a blank right now.
Well, sticking to the septic for a sec, just count yourself lucky you didn't have my experience with it. I'll tell that story real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was leaving school. This was back in high school, and my sister called me. And at the time, my room was in the basement, so that was where all my shit was. And my sister called me, and just being an asshole, she's like laughing. She's like, "You don't want to come home right now." And I'm like, "Well, all right." I get home, and the basement is underwater because the septic, like the sewage, completely backed up into our basement and just destroyed everything. And we tried to figure out, like, what the fuck? Why did this happen? And it turns out there's someone from the town that's meant to come and check the sewers once a month. And for whatever reason, he just didn't do it the past, like, 2 months. So everything just backed up into our fucking basement. And we told the town, like, all right, well, you need to fucking reimburse us for shit. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that.
They don't care, dude.
They don't give a flying fuck. So, yeah, shit water. There's still, you could see the watermark on the wall still.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But,
yeah, I don't have city sewer or water, obviously. So I don't have to worry about all the fluoride and all that in the water. I just have well water. It's the best tasting water you can get.
Delicious. I've never
tried. It is. It's good. It's good. And, yeah. And the water is not conscious. Like we are.
I do have another thing I'd like to bring up.
Yes.
It's been eating away at me. One of our listeners seems to think I sound Canadian. And I don't hear it, personally. I don't. You texted me that the other day. You're like, he says you still sound Canadian, and I don't hear it. Aren't Canadians like notoriously nice people? Like that's what they're known for.
Nah, I think that's just a stereotype. I mean, we had some Canadian friends that we met through PlayStation, Call of Duty, or such that were not nice, right? I don't know if you played. Did you play with any of them?
I may have. I can't remember. That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. There's those two from Maple.
Maple.
Yeah, especially the younger one, CD Revolution.
Oh my god. We're talking
Remember that
like
kid?
10 years ago. Jesus.
More than that, Call of Duty 4. Dude,
Oh
we
fuck.
our Call of Duty expert, CD Revolution, and me used to play the Team Tac 3v3 game modes all the time after school, dude.
Oh my god.
So, you think it's only 10 years, dude? We were 10 years ago now. We were able to drink alcohol still legally. Like we're just getting old.
Just getting old. Oh my.
I'm getting old, and that's why I want the game developers to kind of give me a new. I need a new. They need to give me a new right knee, right? Because it's falling apart. I don't know what's going on with it. I need to get that. They need to give me a new esophagus from the heartburn, and they need to give me a new right pinky after I malleted it a couple years ago trying to pick up my son. So I'm falling apart.
Oh,
I need to.
I remember that day.
Dude,
Oh.
it was horrible. Horrible.
I don't mean to
How to
laugh,
work.
but that text you sent us that day, you're like, I hurt my finger, and you sent us the picture of it all wrapped up. We're like, oh my god, how did you do that? What? How did you do that? You're like, I picked up my son.
It just popped. I don't know. I guess when I went to, maybe my finger was folded in, so when I went to pick him up, it like, I have no idea. I don't remember, but it popped. As I remember coming up with my hands. I felt the pop, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I look at my pinky, and it was just dangling.
Oh.
I thought it was broken. I thought like it was broken or dislocated. And then when I get there, like, no, the tendon's torn.
Jesus.
I just tore the tendon, so I couldn't function it. But the bone was. And then I started feeling like the bone's there. Well, I can't move it. Yeah, the tendon ripped right out of it. I had to be in that cast for the little pinky cast for like 6 months.
Oh.
Where I had to hold it straight, perfectly straight. I couldn't let it droop at all, because if I took it off, like when I'd wash my hands and take it off, I'd have to press my hand to the bottom of the sink to keep it from drooping down, because if it drooped down, it would re-tear it, because it wasn't strong enough to hold it. And I just showered with a bag on my finger. Like I put like a plastic bag on my hand and then washed my hand later, so I didn't flop it around. That thing was the most uncomfortable freaking thing ever, too, because it'd start to sweat a little bit. Oh. In there, and then at work I would tore the pinkies out of all my gloves so I can slide it through and still have my gloves on, but the pinky's sticking out. Oh my god. And then when physical therapy started, like, I don't know how these people do it when they have like physical therapy for like a broken, like, or a torn tendon in like their leg, because I had to start doing these hand motions right after. And dude, the fucking pain in the finger, I guess, was tearing all the scar tissue. Holy fuck. And it was just a pinky. It was just a pinky. I used to go there. I'd go there, physical therapy. They'd massage just the pinky. They'd get like, they put their 2 little fingers on it, and they're like lotioning up. I'm like, what the fuck is this gonna do? Oh. And then they put heat on it. Oh, that was way off topic. That's not conscious. Is it conscious?
It's a thought, therefore it is.
It is, yeah.
I guess. If we're talking about, you want the game developer to give you a new knee and all that. I want them to give me 2 fillings that are not broken, because I learned that one at the dentist today. He's like, yeah, you grind your teeth really bad and you broke both of your fillings.
Oh, when you're sleeping?
Yeah, because I went in because I have pain in the one side. I was like, I can't chew on this side. He's like, yeah, you're an idiot. You fucking grind in your sleep.
So you just need a new vessel. That's what you're saying.
I need one that's not decaying.
Hey. Well, we're all decaying now in our 30s.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and, well, I figured I'd bring this up, too, before we were originally planning on having the Grumbling Grunts on our. We were on their podcast a couple weeks ago now, right? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
I'm not sure. But I was talking to him. We're probably going to have it Friday because I'm off Friday. Josh is off Friday. I'm off Friday because I'm getting an endoscopy Thursday and I didn't feel like going back to work. But Jay is moving. So, I mean, congrats for the move. You know?
Yes.
But he might not be available. So we're going to keep in touch. If that doesn't happen, we'll figure something else to do Friday for recording. If it does, we'll record Friday and bring them on because I like talking to them and they like to grumble. And like, they just get me all riled up. You know what I mean? Ready to fight someone. I don't know about you, but
That blood pressure up.
they get my blood pressure back up. I mean, I was listening to today. They brought up our good pal, Cup of Stew.
Cup of stew.
Josh is Josh or Bowl of Stew. That's what his name is, right? Bowl of Stew. I fucked his name up. He's gonna be pissed.
He's gonna put more clothes on.
But Josh thinks he needs to wear pants more often. But I say go if you want to Winnie the Pooh or do whatever you want, go ahead, do what you want.
Yeah, if you want to Donald Duck it and listen to our show, by all means.
But yeah, hopefully we can get on there. We'll bring them on if we can. If not, we actually have some other stuff in the works about maybe being guests on other podcasts and such. We're trying to spread our wings, spread our reach to others. But yeah, dude. But for real, Jay, yeah, they're great guys. Congrats on the move. Hopefully the UK government doesn't shut their podcast down because they don't like them very much over there. They were talking about it. Yeah, they're like their new internet laws. They actually might get shut down, or at the very least, not be able to post their own content in their own country, and we would hear it, but no one in England would be able to hear it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So consciousness, what is it? Just the brain firing the neurons, or is it a entity all its own? He doesn't know.
Yes,
It's
to both.
It's both. It's both. Maybe it could be both.
It's both
Could
and
possibly.
it's none.
It's nothing.
Exactly.
In this universe, is it just a game developer? Is this someone's computer? Someone just made this and we're just all fucking off and he's, controlling us like The Sims.
Or is it just the longest bad dream of all time and we're just going to wake up one day and be completely different people?
Oh.
Could you imagine that shit?
Oh, no. Oh my God.
Wake up, you live in another country, a whole different life. Oh.
That would suck. Because we won the lottery. We're Americans.
No. I'd have to agree, yeah.
Yeah. Now, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about. Do we even have free will? Or do we have the illusion of free will? Like, are we doing this because we chose to, or are we doing this because we're instructed to do it by the overseer, by the game creator, the game master, and so we just do it. We have the urge ourselves to do it, and that urge is actually not us wanting to do something, but giving a command through the simulation to do something. And is that where those intrusive thoughts come from sometimes, where I'm driving my service truck or I'm driving and I'm like, I just want to swing into this tree. Nah, you're not going to do that. And just keep driving. You know what I mean? You ever get them little intrusive thoughts, Josh?
Constantly.
Is that the game maker giving you a command and then somehow you have free will and you refuse it? Or is that what you actually want to do and then the game maker never actually gives you the command to do it? So you don't.
I don't know about that, but at some point I'd like him to change the difficulty setting to easy.
No, it's got to be harder. And I try to test this sometimes. Like, I'll come home and it'll be this 4-way stop. And I can go either way. I can go straight across, or I can make the left and come down the next road. And sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to make the left. Fuck you. I tricked you, and I'll go straight. Just see if I have the free will or not.
Jesus Christ, man.
Is that too much?
That's some heavy shit, man. You're just driving along trying to psych yourself out.
I do.
It's just so
I do.
ridiculous. Oh,
Yeah, you thought I was going to make a left because I was thinking about it the whole time, but I went straight.
yeah. Or you're sitting still and then you jump up out of the chair when you're not expecting it and you get all dizzy because you weren't meant to do that.
Yeah. Or just because we're old.
Well, we're not going to make it, but
Well, like I said, if we don't make it now, we beat the game. We didn't last as long. I think the longer you last, the worse you are at the game. There's some dark things I could say, but I can't say them on this episode.
either way, I'd like a new character, please, who's ever playing.
All I need is for our game maker to drop me a nice glass of Ovaltine. That's what I want right now.
Oh,
And I'm going to speak it into existence, because there's going to be one sitting on my counter in the kitchen when I walk out there.
thinking this right now. Any second now, my wife is going to walk in with a tall glass of Ovaltine. And she's going to say, here you go. I thought you might like this. And it didn't happen.
You don't have the brain power.
I guess not. I'm not,
You know,
not willful
you're-
enough.
you're wanting it too much right now. You're not connecting. You're trying too hard.
That's what it is, yeah.
It has to be what it is.
Jeez.
Well, guys, I think the tiredness, the nonsense is getting a little. You could probably see it. So we're either gonna do what Friday. We're recording definitely Friday, right?
Yeah, well,
Hopefully we get the grumbling grunts on. If not, we'll give you something else that's not too trippy for you guys, and we'll let you know.
yeah. And also, if you want a free month of Hulu, go to the link tree and do that thing.
Oh yeah, we'll give you a free month. Some people have decided to do it. It's good for you guys. You guys got the month on us. You got to pay for it after that. We're not doing it. We're not doing any more in the month. Can't afford it. I have kids. He has cats. We can't do it. But if you want to do it we'll give you 1 month. That's it. Go on there, go to the link tree, click the link. You get a free month on us.
Everybody gets one.
Only one. Well, until next time, guys.
Bye.